It's the Perfect Union, the perfect podcast for the perfect country. Brought to you by your perfect host, Hank Thompson, for you, the perfect listener. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. Welcome to Perfect Union, the politics wing of Winners and Losers Enterprise and Sorghum Delivery. Or shit, I meant to say dispensary. Sorghum Delivery is not funny. Ridiculous. Welcome, everybody. It's the day after the debate. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your patience and attention to the podcast. We do not have a schedule because we do not have control over our own life, meaning I have a full-time job and a limited amount of energy and time. So I'll whine about that on Winners and Losers, a part of this podcast where I talk to comedians and other people and just kind of ramble. All of it's spotty. This is the part of the show where we do politics. That's what this is all about. So big night last night. The Democratic debate.
Biden, Warren, Sanders, Buttigieg, Harris, Yang, Booker, O'Rourke, Steyer, Klobuchar, Gabbard, Castro. 12 candidates, one stage.
Oh, man, if that doesn't get your blood pumping, I don't know what will. Wow. Intense, powerful, profitable entertainment. How gross is it that these fucking debates are... Oh, sorry, YouTube. I didn't mean to swear. I don't want to upset the Palmolive or whatever. These stupid debates, these fucking debates are... It just seems so crazy to me that... It just seems nuts to me that these debates are meant for entertainment and profit. And, I mean, I understand... If there was no profit or whatever, the TV company wouldn't be able to put on the show. But we could probably, I don't know, just do See, now I'm censoring myself. I got the bug in my brain, man. Those capitalism worms, they start burrowing. They just keep going, man. Wrath of Khan, more like Wrath of Khanpitalism, am I right? So we could do a debate without all the pomp and circumstance and all the rigmarole that goes around with these TV things. I just find this format so frustrating, especially with 12 people. 12 people on stage.
Biden, Warren, Sanders, Buttigieg, Harris, Yang, Booker, O'Rourke, Steyer.
Yeah, it's Steyer. Okay, you get the idea. It's insane. It's not enough time to get into the issues. It's all just looking for sound bites and viral moment mining. It's gross. I can't stand it. I'll say it every time we talk about debates. That said, let's talk about the debate. First of all, I find it a little bit gross to even talk about this stuff. It just seems, I don't know, how really relevant is it? Unfortunately, the way the political class, the commentary class, the pundit class, the all throughout the spectrum, left and right, seems to pay super close attention. And I do. I'm not saying I'm immune from that, but I just wish there were better ways of disseminating this information and a better way of operating these election systems. They should be much shorter. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So I've been preparing stories over the last several weeks for this show, but I just don't have time or energy to get to the podcast and do them. So I have a bunch of stuff I'd love to talk about. But because this is in the news right now and following up last night's debate, I assume you watched it. Which means you probably also saw the news that AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar have endorsed Bernie Sanders, or are going to formally do it on Saturday. I think that's brilliant, the rollout of that. It was really smart. This was a big debate for Bernie. I mean, coming off this healthcare thing, his numbers have been like stagnating, dipping slightly. Biden seems to be on the decline, thank God. His poll numbers are oozing down, just like the brain drippings that are coming out of his ears. That guy is... I bet he wakes up every day and there's 2 puddles of brains just next to on his pillow, and he sleeps with his head straight forward. You know, people who sleep without moving, bunch of freaks. I wish it. Actually, all right, whatever. So for Bernie to, so it was important for Bernie to have a strong performance at the debate, and I think he did. I will say this though, I didn't see the entire thing. I worked the debate. I had to edit and do like a bunch of editing, a lot of quick turnaround kind of editing, short clips and stuff for my job because I work at a political media place. So I wasn't able to actually fully focus in. So I was able to absorb the debate through the editing work I was doing, as well as kind of paying attention on Twitter and some of the moments. But I had some time this morning here. Now this is the day after Wednesday. Hungover as fuck. Hungover on democracy. To look into it a little bit and pick out some stuff. We got some Klobuchar laughter. Oh, wait, sorry. Klobulaughs coming up. Those are always fun. and just a few other things. I love dunking on. God, why am I the word dunking? I'm too old for that. That's not crapping, dookieing on Klobuchar because of other people have analysis covered. They got the whole this is facts and stuff, but I have a little comedy in my background, so I feel like I can cover the Klobulaughs lane. I don't think enough people are paying attention to this important topic. Also, she's a perfect example to me of the bland focus group, weirdly, what's the word? For mannequins? Mannequin-esque. Just put esque at the end of anything. Sorghum-esque. See? Delicious. Type of politician that should not succeed at all. And she's not alone. She's got a lot of company. Booker is like a slightly more polished version of it. All of them, really, honestly. They're all fucking scumbags. Biden especially. But Biden has that I do think he has some innate charisma in his demeanor and carriage, but he's full of shit. He just lies and blusters and makes crap up. He doesn't. Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna play some clips and we're gonna get through it. I also don't want to make this too long, and I've already rambled for 8 or 7 minutes. So who does that backwards? That's fine. All right. So let me finish the thought about AOC. For Bernie to have a good night was extremely important, and I'd say he did. I didn't see any evidence or any tweets. Anybody, he's got a lot of enemies. That guy's taking fire from all directions. And it's time to circle the wagons and start backing up this guy, because he really is something different than the other candidates. I'm glad Elizabeth Warren is like the backup for that. I mean, she's my number 2 by far, and I would be grateful for a world run by her over anybody else. But Bernie represents an entirely different message that is going to, I think, and we're seeing it. It's going to pass on to future generations. Because the kind of things we need to do to fix this world, to get a grip on these scourges of our idiot ancestors who have saddled us with their insane beliefs and their anti-human, antithetical, is that right? Anti-ethical, I don't know if that's a word, but notions of racism and sexism and misogyny and capitalism, in a way that we just are structured into these systems where we are forced to squabble over scraps and then be grateful to our betters for the scraps they give us, and or starve. That's your other choice. Be grateful or starve. That's the system we've created. And meanwhile, it's going to kill us all. I think there's something extreme. I mean, people would call me an extremist, because I think we should use democratic socialism to build a world where everybody can have dignity. That's an extreme position. But what we have could kill 7 or 8 billion people. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer, he didn't even get out of the hundreds. He was in the low teens, I think. I don't know. So anyway, Bernie rolled out. Bernie got out there and kicked some ass. He was his usual old self. The guy's a fucking amazing. Like, he's got some stamina on him. And like when you make a video game character, he just took that slider, went stamina all the way. He will never tire of pressing the B button and then holding down the left trigger and then parrying and then attacking. His stamina bar will always stay fully charged. That's a joke for you video game people. It's not even a joke. It's just a kind of a clumsy reference. So he did great. From what I've seen, Warren was strong. Those two are pretty reliable, honestly. There's a reason they're in the top 3 and soon to be just the top 2. So this is a Tuesday night debate. And then right after the debate, the news hits that AOC is going to endorse him, and she moves a lot of units, man. She is, I don't like that framing, but she's an extremely talented, I also don't like when people call politicians talented, but it does apply. She has a set of skills and characteristics that lend herself to the success that she's already had, and to the, particularly within the context of a digital world and social media, but and to future prospects. I would bet money she'll be president someday. And for that reason, I mean, one of the ways you can measure is how much does the right hate her, and how much are they, how much do they enjoy? They're they're obsessive man baby fanboy hate boys. It's gross. It's gross. Because she's attractive. I'll just, it's okay to say that, right? That's a factor. And she is, but she's got so much potential, and I love the way she works and how hard she works and how well she quote unquote performs in doing her job at the hearings and the way she questions people. And I really am excited for her future. But because the right wing is so hateful and their hate is targeted at her, like she is under the eye of Sauron, the many eyes of Sauron, and Lord of the Rings for all you cool people out there. I'm worried. It's scary, honestly. I fear for AOC. This is a violent movement that we're up against, the fascist upswell, the most heavily armed nation on the planet, who are being ginned up into. I mean, I'll be stunned if there's not some but some act of stochastic violence that emerges during this process up through the 2020 election. But that's getting ahead. Really smart for the Democrats, or for at least for Bernie and the progressive wing and the Democratic Socialists, to announce that right after the debate. That takes over the headlines. Then it's going to be in the headlines today. And then but they didn't just say that's it, it's done. They said we're going to have a special guest on Saturday, and they always reveal this ahead of time. It'd be dumb of them to not let anybody know. Like if you plan a surprise party, well, it's not exactly a good metaphor. So let's get to the clips. Here we go. The first one is Klobuchar getting in and talking about healthcare. This is one of the first topics that I got through. So we're going to kind of go chronologically through the thing. I'm doing a thing in Premiere where I made markers and notes and stuff. So I'm hoping that this makes it easier for me to produce this and be able to talk about it without sounding like a dumbass. Well, actually, that's kind of the point of the show. Here we go.
I believe the best and boldest idea here is to not trash Obamacare, but to do exactly what Barack Obama wanted to do from the beginning, and that's have a public option that would bring down...
Okay, no. That was not what Barack Obama wanted to do from the beginning. It's such nonsense. That's revisionist bullshit. He paid lip service to it. There was some inklings that they might do a public option, but he immediately tabled it. Just Google this. I did before. There's numerous articles. People just like, well, I don't know why he took the public option off the table very early in the process. It was one of the most dispiriting things at the time because we were all so fed up and upset and tired of the Republican rule under Bush, which had crashed the economy, causes incredibly dangerous war and military conflicts. I don't know why military conflict and war are separate things all over the world. So Obama gets in under the promise of hope, and then he immediately appoints like scumbags like Timothy Geithner and Larry Summers to his economic policy advisement panel, whatever. Deeply rooted establishment fuckheads that have caused a lot of the problems that we have because they're respected, they're serious people. And then during the Obamacare run up to the passing the ACA, he didn't fight hard for the Obamacare or for the public option at all. It was really dispiriting at the time. It was like, oh, wait a minute, hope? That was just a marketing slogan on a thing? He didn't really mean it? And as he proved over time, he didn't. He was not a good president. By the standards of other presidents, Obama was a great president. By the standards of did he advance human interests and human causes? Nope. Fart noise for you, my friend. Of course, there's other layers to it in regards to racial progress and other things like that. So, and I think I would put a person like Obama up against any Republican any day. He's an incredibly gifted human being with a lot of talent and a lot of charm and charisma and skills. And nobody named Barack Hussein Obama becomes the first black president of a deeply white supremacist and racist country without having some skills. But we voted for that, but we didn't get any of the results that we were hoping for at the time. So Klobuchar is rewriting this history to try to make it sound like Obama did something more. Also, she's just this centrist idiot. She takes money from, corporations, and so she's defending their interests. She doesn't work for people. Let's just play this a little more.
Down the cost of the premium and expand the number of people covered and take on the pharmaceutical companies. That is what we should be doing.
Okay, get out of here. It's a split screen of Elizabeth Warren just writing down notes, sharpening her sharp thing. She's going to take her down. No. So next one here. Okay, good. We got another Klobulaughs. So be ready, okay? If pull over your car or your scooter or your, what do you carry children in? Pusher thingy. I just don't want anybody to get hurt, okay? Be sitting. Don't be standing. You'll fall over with laughter, all right? Here comes another Klobulaugh.
We are seeing, I once called it a silver tsunami, the aging, and then someone told me that was too negative, so I call it the silver surge. The
The silver surge. Man, that's good. That is good. Isn't it like if you drink mercury, doesn't it cause you to turn blue or some shit? Man, that is funny. I am not, I can't, I got to do it one more time. Let's go one more time.
We are seeing, I once called it a silver tsunami, the aging, and then someone told me that was too negative, so I call it the silver surge. The
Great.
Aging of...
Yes! So she's getting, just play it a little bit.
The population. We need to make it easier to get long-term care.
So she's talking about getting older. So the silver tsunami means people's hair is turning silver. It turns white and flesh-colored. Genius. We don't all get to be Stephen Martin. I don't know what the hell they're getting into with this topic, but funny. Just straight up funny. And I guess tsunami, let's break it down a little. So she was told not to say tsunami. So when someone is looking out for your interests and they say, "Hey, maybe don't reference the thing that killed 140,000 people in 10 minutes, or however long it takes to drown and starve from everything being washed away." I don't know what the numbers were. It was one of the enormously devastating tsunami. Don't tell the story about how you used to say the bad thing. It's like, what if she said the N-word? Here's how you know I'm a good comedian, because it's immediately go to the N-word. Fucking idiot. That's a bad metaphor. Let's not do that one. So, okay, I'm done. I'm tired of this. I got shit to do. All right, here, let's go to the next one. Okay, so now they move on to healthcare. Biden, of course, has been yammering on. Magically, his teeth all stayed in his head while he was talking. And in this one, there, Bernie responds to Biden in a typical Bernie way. Press play. Press play again.
We have a plan put forward that will work.
Senator Sanders, do you want to respond?
I get a little bit tired, I must say, of people defending a system which is dysfunctional, which is cruel. 87 million uninsured, 30,000 people dying every single year, 500,000 people going bankrupt. For what reason? They came down with cancer. I will tell you what the issue is here. The issue is whether the Democratic Party has the guts to stand up to the healthcare industry, which made $100 billion in profit.
$100 billion in profit on saying no to people who need help. People who needed to get tests done, who needed to see other doctors or specialists. A lot of medical problems are exasperated because people don't go to the doctor when they first start to see symptoms. They wait it out, because waiting it out works sometimes. I wait out almost everything. Just about. I can't, you get sick, you go, well, let's see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. And then, your human body tends to heal itself, the immune system, blah, blah, blah. Although I've had a wrist injury since April that I can't seem to fix. I have to wear a wrist brace, walking around looking like I got carpal tunnel syndrome, like some kind of nerd. Like, I don't know why I have to shame people for having that. I do get self-conscious about wearing a wrist brace. I don't know why. I want it to be like it's not a cool leather brace like Xena, the warrior queen. It's, I just look like I type too much. And it was from woodworking, which I just want to be like, hey, everybody, this is from... I built a thing for turtles. It's literally what I was building a house for turtles with my neighbor. Wow, great analysis, Hank. It's just wild that we tolerate this, and that's what Bernie's speaking to. And it's just bizarre that anybody defends it, other than through the explanatory lens that they're being paid to defend it. Joe Biden's part of the system. Cory Booker's part of the system. Amy Klobuchar's part of the system. They're bought in.
Whether we have the guts to stand up to the corrupt price-fixing pharmaceutical industry, which is charging us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs.
It's illegal for them to charge less than retail. Medicare Part D, passed by the Bush administration, made it illegal for the government, which is the biggest purchaser of drugs because of Medicare and Medicaid and the Veterans Administration. The biggest purchaser can't negotiate for lower prices. That's like if you go to Costco to buy a 100-gallon drum of pickles, which I do once a week. I bathe in them. I don't eat them. That would be gross. I emerge from it like remember that movie Sirens? You ever see that? If I had to pay full retail for each pickle, I would be broke. But I go to Costco and buy a 100-gallon drum of it, and it's much cheaper because the per pickle price is lower. It's called bulk discount. It's called buying power, purchaser power. And they made it illegal for the government to enact its purchasing power over the pharmaceutical industry. Unbelievable. A little more.
And if we don't have the guts to do that, if all we can do is take their money, we should be ashamed of ourselves.
Thank you, Senator.
We should be ashamed of ourselves. Goddamn fucking right we should. All right, next one. Let's keep moving. This is going to get, it's going to get long if I don't keep pushing. I can just ramble constantly. They were going after Bernie over, they keep trying to get Warren and Bernie to admit that they're going to raise taxes. Are you going to raise taxes? Are you going to raise taxes? They're just so desperate to get that soundbite. It's like the media is beholden to the same corporate structure, the ruling class interests that operate the medical industry, the billionaire class that runs this fucking planet. It almost seems like that. They're so eager to try to get them to say in a nice, pithy, soundbitey way, yes, I'm going to raise your fucking taxes. Give me your fucking money, motherfucker. I could do a better Bernie than that. So they try to do that, and then Sanders and Warren are pretty good at saying, it's about costs, you idiots. It's about your overall, you don't have to pay the copay. And one thing that strikes me is I think it's a fail by Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, is they don't talk about stress. They don't, it's kind of implied, and I know it's come up, but like one of the first things that he mentions, the first thing he mentions should be that if you work for a company that is giving you health care, you're going to get a raise. That's built into the bill. I need to look into that exactly how that works, but your company's spending $3 or $4 grand a year, or whatever they're spending on, let's just say $4 grand a year on you, and then suddenly they don't have to spend that. Well, who keeps that? Who keeps that $4 grand? That's a payment to you. That's a benefit that you're getting from your job. A benefit is just another word for payment. I'm pretty sure that the Bernie's plan, because I've heard him answer questions about this, that it goes to you. Like that they have provisions in there where some, if not all, of that goes to you. So start with, here's what's going to happen, everybody. You're going to get a raise. And you never have to pay and then get into your thing. Like you're going to get money. Your pay is going to go up. Your overall cost is going to drop. Your pay is going to go up. Your taxes might go up a little bit. Fine. I would love to pay taxes so that I could see a doctor, so that you can see a doctor, so that everybody can go see doctors and go early. The amount of savings will be enormous. And then the stress reduction alone is a huge thing. There's so much research about the negative effects of stress on you, and it affects everybody differently. It forces people unknowingly into coping behaviors, some healthy coping behaviors and some unhealthy coping behaviors. I've done both, and the unhealthy ones are expensive. They're no good. And stress itself, just the stress reduction of knowing that when you're sick, or your kid is sick, or your mom is sick, or whatever is sick, your ghost gets sick, you can go see a ghost doctor. Don't see a ghost dad. That guy's dead to me. All right? You hear me, Ghost Cosby? You bastard. Boy, what if he's like the one and only ghost? Just roams around. Oh man, I was thinking of something there. So the amount of money, just in sheer terms of stress has effects on your sleep. Sleep is huge. Ariana Huffington taught me that. And the just the psychological, it's like your RAM. It's like your computer has so much capacity for running software. RAM is the immediate memory that your computer uses to access the files. The hard drive is like the file cabinet, the longer term storage. The RAM is like the desktop surface. When you put something on your desk, that's your desk's RAM. I don't know why I'm explaining this, but so there's a stress software running in the background all the time in America. Anybody who's sick, I mean, being sick is stressful enough as it is. Having any illness, even mild coughs and aches and whatever, like those things are super stressful. Chronic things just build up. But then on top of all that, we have this stress of the money, of the desperation, and the reminder that you don't matter to your society. Your society doesn't give a shit about your pain. Your society won't back you up. They're not going to look out for you. You're on your own. Fuck face. You're on your own. Stupid. All right. I like swearing, Bernie. So all that stress we have to live with. It's become so normalized that they don't even talk about it when they talk about Medicare for all. About alleviating that stress. And that's something I see. One of the things I get pulled into, or I find compelling on Twitter and articles, etc., is Canadians and British folks and people from other countries that have much better healthcare systems talking about their experience. And one thing that you get out of it is they don't have the stress. They're not scared all the time of bankruptcy, of dying, someone they know bankruptcy dying, of having to humiliate yourself on the internet, begging for money in order to pay a bill, to pay a hospital bill. There was a story of a young woman was somehow, I don't know what the circumstances were, but she got into in New York in the subway system. She got, I don't know if she was hit or fell. I think she fell between the train and the thing, and she was like pinned, and she was injured, bleeding, still alive. But she's saying, "Don't call an ambulance. I can't afford it. Don't call an." She was terrified of having to call an ambulance. People take Ubers instead of the ambulance to go to the hospital for things, and a lot of times people just die. And Americans are so conditioned to that. It's just disgusting. But I just think that Warren and Sanders should mention that. Mention the stress reduction. And there's ways of quantifying that partially. Definitely not in a way, too, because it's kind of a nebulous, emotional, it's concept. It's a nutrient. It's like part of the soil of life is stress. So we could reduce that. Like the healthiest life is still going to have stress in it. And the only stresses people should have to deal with in a utopian world are death, grief, although there's processes for handling that too. We don't have to be so insane about either. And heartbreak from relationships and accidents and stuff. I mean, stress should not be over work and over money and healthcare. Yet it is. And part of the reason it is, and I wouldn't say that it was a deliberate intentional thing, although it's certainly not fixing it is deliberate and intentional, is that it serves the powerful. Your boss benefits by you being scared of starving. You're scared to speak up. You're scared to say what's right. You're scared to stand up for yourself. You're scared to ask for a raise. You're scared to insist on things being better because they can always get rid of you. You don't have any power, and that's a kind of useful stress. It's not useful to you, though. It's just useful to the people that are exploiting you. So, as I like to say, fuck that shit. All right, next one. Let's keep going here. We got a lot to do. I'm having fun. I'm starting to get into it a little bit. Got to calm down. I get a little overstimulated when I do these, and plus, caffeine gets in my brain. I've been drinking a little too much caffeine lately. Not a healthy relationship. I gotta move on to caffeine pills. No. But anyway, it makes my brain race even more than it already does. All right, we're getting into the wealth tax. I've covered that a little bit in previous episodes, and this is a big pommel horse of mine. I have nothing but absolute rage and disdain for these scumbag billionaires, none of whom should exist. They didn't do the work. They don't deserve the benefit of the work. I'm not saying they should be paid $40,000 a year, but they'll be fine with $500 million. Jeff Bezos didn't make the deliveries. Put that sentence in your brain when you're arguing with your idiot friends about this stuff. Here we go.
Senator Sanders, when you introduced your wealth tax, which would tax the assets of the wealthiest Americans, you said, quoting you, Senator, billionaires should not exist. Is the goal of your plan to tax billionaires out of existence?
Yes, we're going to round them up. We're going to put them in camps. We're going to make them sleep on cots. We're going to tattoo the numbers on their foreheads. We're going to steal their children and put their children into Christian adopt.
Why did I? Okay. People think that when they say billionaires should not exist, that means like killing them. I don't think a lot of people think that, but it just means no. We just reclaim the money they stole from the people who produced it, from their workers. And also, by the way, you could say, well, what about investment in real estate and all this? Well, land is another thing. Like natural resources is another way that this class, the billionaire class, exploits the whole planet. Like natural resources and labor are the two resources that they have. But investing and that kind of thing, you might make the argument that that's how they make their money. That's where all their billions came from. What's investing without labor? What's investing without natural resources? It's not on the same level. There's no economy or economic system that would function with just investing. I look at investing in like stock markets and blah blah blah. I'm not against loans and bank loan. I don't think that. I mean, I'm not suggesting we just go back to strictly barter societies, but investing, that's just capital flowing between capitalists in ways that make them all money. They also have ways of making money when companies go down and companies lose money. But it's all built on labor, land resources, and past innovations, basically technologies and knowledge, science, basically. So investing is not a driver. Investing is a consequence of those other things. Because if you could remove investing and you'd still have those other things producing value. You remove investing completely. I mean, I look at that's like the stock market should not be exciting. It should be a boring, simple thing, and it's a way of essentially lubricating growth. Although I have a lot to say about growth. We're way too growth obsessed with this, as my hero Greta Thunberg calls it, fairy tales of eternal growth, which is just bonkers. All right, so let's get to the answer.
When you have 500,000 Americans sleeping out on the street today, when you have 87 million people uninsured or underinsured, when you got hundreds of thousands of kids who cannot afford to go to college and millions struggling with the oppressive burden of student debt, and then you also have 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society.
That's about 170 million people.
That is a moral and economic outrage. And the truth is, we cannot afford to continue this level of income and wealth inequality, and we cannot afford a billionaire class whose greed and corruption has been at war with the working families of this country for 45 years. So if you're asking me, do I think we should demand that the wealthy start paying, the wealthiest, top 0.1%, start paying their fair share of taxes so we can create a nation and a government that works for all of us? Yes, that's exactly what I believe.
Thank you, Senator.
Exactly. Thank you, Bernie. Man, he's done such a, like, if he doesn't become president, I know I've said this before too, but the amount of Overton window shifting he's done, the needle moving, he's changed the conversation in ways that are so vital and so important. It opens up lanes for people like AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar to speak about these things too, and for future progressives and future Democratic Socialists and other candidates like that. These billionaires are monstrosities. They've got to go. It's done. It's not going to happen. Don't worry. I'm not naive. I don't think it's actually going to happen. But, this will be a kind of a theme, and it's always going to be a theme, but the concentration of power is bad for society. It's unjust. Fairness is deeply rooted in our blood, in our DNA. Because it's easy to kind of just dismiss it like, people could do whatever they want, that's fine. But like, no, actually, income inequality is actually a really important thing. There's a study, really funny video. I'm going to put it on. I'll try to find it and put it in the YouTube version of it, guys. Check the link for the YouTube version. I'm trying to put more videos and stuff in those, where these two monkeys are. It's a research experiment, and they're both in cages. There's two, I don't know what kind. I don't want to say Reese's, but I'm not sure. But there's two monkeys, one next to the other, and they can see each other. And the researcher has two bowls out. One has cucumbers and one has grapes. And they're making them do a task for a food reward. So the first monkey, they give like a rock in one side of the cage, and then like he gives it back to the other side of the cage or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's an easy thing, and he does it, and then they give him a piece of cucumber. And he's like, cool, cucumber. Eats it. They do the exact same thing with the other monkey, and the first one's watching, and instead of the cucumber, they give the grape. Now, I think we all understand grape beats cucumber any day of the week. If you don't like grapes, there's something wrong with you. I don't eat them because they're filled with sugar. One grape is the equivalent of 2 M&Ms. That's right. I looked it up once. Carbs. And it depends on the size of the grape, too. And they're really gross when you get the ones with seeds. Ugh, God, you ever bite into a grape and it's got seeds? It's like having lumps in milk. It's gross. Crunchy. Ugh. So anyway, the second monkey gets the grape. Of course, he's happy. Or she. Nom, 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 nom. And you can see the first monkey, like, you can just read the body language. It's unmistakable. Like, you can see the first monkey being like, wait a minute. Like, you can see it gets a little riled. And so then they go back to the first monkey to do the experiment again. Rock, give it back, whatever. And they give him a cucumber. And he reaches his hand out and he grabs a cucumber and immediately just throws the cucumber and sort of has a little tantrum. Fucking angry. He wasn't angry the first time. He was fine with the cucumber the first time. But because he saw the other monkey do the same thing and get the grape, he wanted the grape. Or she. They deserve the grape. Because that would be fair. And these little monkey brains are doing that. You're goddamn right. These are enormously complicated human social systems. Our egalitarian ancestors living on the plains of Africa, in the forests of Africa, worked together and cared about fairness. It's a huge thing. It's not just like, hey, you're just jealous of their. It's like it actually creates stress and all sorts of stuff. Particularly, like I would be okay with billionaires if we raise the floors. You can never get lower than well above poverty. And if everybody's life was going along the way that they deserve, that's in line with their instincts, and they're fulfilled, and they have healthy relationships, and they live their full lifespan, and they don't have all the stress that we impose on people these days, then we can talk about billionaires. Then then it's okay, because in a sense it is arbitrary, just a number. It's more the imbalance that's the relevant part of the word billionaire. So it's huge, and not to mention just that they can control governments. They have all sorts of influence. They control your lives. They control everything. They control the marketing. You get the things. You get to how you get to think, the way society sets itself up. It's all in service of these people, the people who don't need anymore. And that's what's so fucked up about global warming is that we're gonna kill everybody / cause guaranteed to cause enormous upheaval that will kill millions. They'll displace billions probably when the coasts flood. Food supply issue, the whole litany of problems with global warming. All so that a few rich people who already have more money than they'll ever need can have just a little more money. It's in service of the greed of people who don't need more money. And that's the norm. But people who, like me, you probably call extremists. It's not. That's my point. Maybe people don't call. I don't think anybody's calling me anything. So good for Bernie. Let's get rid of the billionaires. Let's tax them down. I think I mean, if I were to draw the line, I would say no one should ever have more than 50 million, just to pick a number. I think you'd have a hard time persuading me that you won't have an absolutely glorious, luxurious life if you only have $50 million. The average person earns, is a study from the University of Indiana from 2009, so the number's probably a little higher, but wages haven't really gone up. But the average person with a college degree in America, assuming a 40-year working career, will earn about $1.8 million. So $1.8 to $2 million. So 50 million seems fair. But if we get that down to 1 billion or 500 million, and it's unbelievable to see how many regular people defend that. It's just crazy. You're worth something. You fucking idiots. You have value. You deserve more. Life is precious because it's rare. We've got 14 billion years, 12.7, 13.7 billion years before you where you didn't exist. And there'll be trillions and trillions and trillions of years after you didn't exist. And you're going to spend your 80 years defending people who are making your life worse? Come on. All right, 75 years. Nobody before the age of 5 is defending billionaires. Age of 5 is when it starts. I think that billionaires have a right to their... You could start your own business, fuckface. All right. Ooh, another Klobulaughs. All right, here we go. I'm just not even going to set up. We're just going to roll with this shit and hit the play button.
And we have not talked about what we need to do to protect ourselves from Russia invading our election. This wasn't meddling. That's what I do when I call my daughter on a Saturday night and ask her what she's doing. Sorry. This was much more serious than that.
Oh, it's what she does. Meddling is when she calls her daughter and asks her what she's doing on a Saturday night. I think she stole that from Kinnison. I think she took that. Oh, I called my daughter Saturday fucking night. Wow, that was a much better Kinnison than I expected when I started that. Not that I planned it. So there's another quality banger from Klobuchar. Let me back it up. Let's hit that again. So the context is what's funny here. She's talking about Russian meddling and Putin and stuff, and that's a whole other bird's nest of stories to be confused about. But they're meddling, and I like they're like if Trump. I'm okay. All right, whatever. Well, I'll get into that later. The people who deny that Russia has any interest in doing this I don't understand that thinking. It's also obviously not the only way that our system is fucked up. It's screwed up in all sorts of ways. If you look at it through the lens of global oligarchy, it makes a lot more sense. Putin is looking out for himself. It's a gangster country. That guy it's basically a mafia-run nation with just a land. Only has natural resources, oil, especially in gas, and they have an interest in screwing up America. Like they weaponized our elections because we're idiots. We have this Trump guy. Can you imagine? I bet it's fun being Putin. I bet he laughs his ass off at this whole Trump situation. Hits play on that video of Trump, getting pissed in the mouth by some hookers. Anyway, that's all kind of rambling. And the people that say, well, America meddles too. Yeah, that's also wrong. Exactly. No shit. We don't want that either. We shouldn't be meddling. I don't understand why that makes it okay for them to do it. Anyway, I'm using their framing and their language. It's a much more complicated topic. But the context is hilarious that she just drops in this stupid joke. She's got good timing, though. You got to admit, this is pretty good timing, for sure. Here we go, one more time.
And we have not talked about what we need to do to protect ourselves from Russia invading our election. This wasn't meddling. That's what I do when I call my daughter on a Saturday night and ask her what she's doing. Sorry. This was much more serious than that. This was...
Okay. Good one, Klobuchar. All right, so here we go. Another one. 2 hits in a row. Get ready. Don't drive away from the curb yet.
Not just opiates. There's still meth issues and crack cocaine issues. This is personal for me. My dad, he struggled with alcoholism his whole life. And by his 3rd DWI, they said to him, the prosecutor, you got to face jail or you got to go to treatment. He picked treatment, and he was pursued by Grace. And he has been sober ever since. And now he's 91 and in assisted living. And he said to me last year, it's hard to get a drink around here anyway. But he
It's hard to get a drink around here anyway. He still wants it. He's 91 and he just wants that fucking bottle. Give it to me. Give it to me. I'm too old and frail. Can't get one anyway. A lot of lifting in that word anyway. By the way, I had an issue with alcohol, so I'm allowed to talk about this shit. The thing is, so her jokes are written. Like, these are planned. She's not riffing. These are planned, canned things. There's a video of her, I don't remember which one, but you can find montages of her saying the same jokes over and over again. If she becomes president, you'll see a lot of those montages, but fortunately, she'll never, ever become anything close to president. That's not true. She's already on a debate stage in the middle of an election, so I guess that's close. Closer than most of us get, to be fair. But who does this work for? Who's like, she's so down home, because she sort of shifts to this down homey, folksy, and politicians, it's like that thing where your boss tells a joke and everybody kind of goes, yeah. Secretly you're thinking, fuck your joke, you goddamn. Like that thing where like a powerful person, somebody way up, but it's really that this effect is extremely powerful for politicians. Everybody cackles at their jokes. It seems like the polite thing to do. Their speeches are also so boring that when you do get a slight bit of joke, a little humor, and at least something that has the trappings of a joke, because I wouldn't call most of what they do humor, it gets a reaction. And so they get trained to think that no matter what joke they say, it's always going to be funny. And so she shifts into a little smile and she delivers the joke. And man, is it a mess. What a stupid joke this is. Here, let's hit it from the middle.
Or you got to go to treatment. He picked treatment, and he was pursued by Grace. And he has been sober ever since. And now he's 91 and in assisted living. And he said to me last year, it's hard to get a drink around here anyway. But he's...
She does that. Do you hear that breath? She does that little breath, and she kind of... Guess she didn't get it. She moved on a little quick. Hold for laughter or silence. It hurts to hold for silence sometimes. I've done it. So yeah, good one. Thanks for the Klobulaughs. Klobuchar. All right, now next move. We got to keep moving here. I'm going to run out of storage space on my Libsyn account, to be honest. This starts with Harris on big tech. I don't think I'm going to belabor these points too much, but big tech is the topic here. Should we break them up? Should Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg recently been in the news for being a colossal fucking, I was going to say freak, creep. He's not a freak. He's a creep. He's a robotic. Like, get a haircut. I know it's hack, but again, powerful people need to be put in their place. Nobody with any friends that weren't terrified of them would allow their friend to get a haircut like Mark Zuckerberg has. He probably goes like the one barber that only accepts Zuckbucks. He's trying to create his own currency. Maybe that's a good sign you should start to break someone up when they start to be like, you should put my face on your money. Okay, you're too big. But anyway, Harris, I'm not sure exactly where her position is on this. I assume she might pay some lip service to the notion, but ultimately she's funded by big corporations, so she ain't going to do anything that's really going to threaten anything for them. And she and Warren has a response to Harris here.
And so what I am saying is that it seems to me that you would be able to join me in saying the rule has to apply to Twitter the same way it does to Facebook.
Look,
she wants it to be fair. Just be fair. Just like when she was a DA in California, and there'd been a long investigation into the Catholic Church with lots of evidence, lots of victims, lots of testimony, and official type of testimony, and this huge investigation that she squashed in defense of the Catholic rape organization. She turned her back on childhood rape victims. I'll put a link into the description if you want to read more about it. You don't hear about that much. There's some writing about it that's really fascinating. So be fair. Be fair to the powerful, basically, especially the ones that are assaulting and raping children. Anyway, they're talking about tech. And, tech, phones, they don't do any damage to kids.
I think all of the rules should apply across the board. I don't have a problem with that.
So you will join me in saying Twitter should shut down that account?
Is that if we're going to talk seriously about breaking up big tech, then we should ask if people are taking money from the big tech executives.
Good point. I agree. Don't take money. And if Elizabeth Warren gets the nomination, which is a pretty high probability, she better enforce that too. I want to see that. I have absolute confidence Bernie won't. I have high confidence she won't. We'll see. I think she's, again, I have a lot of, I like Warren tremendously, but, she's far above the other centrists like Harris. But, anyway, not trying to crap on Warren too much here.
If we're going to talk seriously about breaking up big drug companies, we should ask if people are financing their campaigns by taking money from big drug executives. If we are going to talk about Wall Street and having some serious regulation over Wall Street, we should ask if people are funding their campaigns by taking money from those executives.
Thank you, Senator.
But wait a minute. I thought taking money from industry people and corporations and super PACs and dark money, I thought that's just free speech. Doesn't she believe in the Constitution? The part that says you have the right to have a free speech and to shoot people for some reason, that's a right. I mean, I know it doesn't say you're right to shoot people, but the Second Amendment kills 35,000 people a year. All right, so yeah, we should break up the big tech companies. By the way, they're huge. We shouldn't have they shouldn't have that much influence. They have incredible power over what's the movie about Cambridge Analytica that Trump and these shady network of there's some documentary I watched about it. But the way that they're able to control people and influence people and manipulate them via what I really never really hear about, and maybe it's out there, I don't see everything by a long mile, is the algorithms. Why are they legal? Meaning, okay, I mean, that's how they make their money. These algorithms are these very sophisticated AI systems that are designed purely to not just manipulate you, but get better at manipulating you. So over time, you're exposed to the bubble that the algorithm permits in order to sell, for these companies to sell advertising and to harvest data that they sell to other advertisers. This whole thing is just driven by consumerism, consumptionism, if that's a thing, and their maniacal profit-driven I mean, it's part of what's so sociopathic about corporations and capitalism, is that they have to do, it's illogical for them to not maximize, or I guess it's illegal, but it goes against their corporate charter. They're legally required to do everything they can to maximize profit. And yes, to the only degree that they observe ethics and morals and stuff is to the point where it doesn't impact their bottom line, meaning they get in trouble. And that's what regulations are for. That's the counterbalancing force of government on corporations. And I think we should restructure the entire corporate personhood bullshit and the entire way that workers and employees and employers are that relationship. It's the people doing the work should get the benefit. But anyway, the NBA is a good example right now. They're in this thing with China where, LeBron James comes out saying that, it's got, I don't know all the exact details, but people in the NBA want access to the Chinese market. They're terrified that they won't get it. So they're willing to look the other way on the human rights abuses and violence that's occurring in China. They have massive concentration camps. They're doing all sorts of destructive things to the Uyghur Muslim population and other human rights violations. The anti-Hong Kong protests, and by anti-Hong Kong protests, I mean the Chinese mainland is anti the protests. That was kind of clumsy language, but ban the algorithms. Maybe not ban. Okay, maybe that's not a thing, but give us make it illegal. Like, we need like a digital rights amendment. We need a digital bill of rights. Kind of a cheesy phrase. I didn't come up with that, but and included in that, aside from your right to your data, your right to delete your data, your right to be anonymous on the internet if you want to be, to not have these things following you, tracking your information, following you all over the place. All that should be opt-in, but also make it much, much, much more easier to opt out. If anything, the opt-out should be the default, and you have to volunteer. And that should be the same for algorithms. There should be a law that says, turn off the algorithm. I liked Twitter when it was just chronological. I didn't care if if you missed something, you scrolled. You get to the bottom and you're like, oh, okay, I'm getting into yesterday. Okay, I'm done. Time to go. Instead, you swipe, and then you get that randomness, and is it going to update? And I mean, They hire psychologists and like people who research brain and human behavior to try to get you addicted using the same things that gets addicted to gambling, which is randomness, and all sorts of ways that they do it. It's evil to keep you on the app. It's toxic, and I mean I'm sucked into it. I can feel it in myself when I'm at my phone or in my bed, scrolling my stupid thumb. It's like, what am I doing? You just lose track of time. You're displaced from the world. You get angry and upset, especially Twitter. I mean, I happen to care greatly about stuff. My empathy gear is pretty strong. I think it's above average. So I see a story about some lady got her head cut off by an errant Amy Klobuchar binder, and I'm sad. It bums me out. There's all sorts of misery to expose yourself to. And I'm not saying I don't have my own responsibilities as far as how I use it, but this technology it's an uneven playing field. Mark Zuckerberg has billions and billions and billions of dollars stacked up against the rest of us. So make it possible to turn off the algorithm. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, so here's Klobuchar weighing in. She's got a new perspective. Don't you know? Oh, she's got some great things to tell you. Why don't you just tune right up here and listen? I'm not doing Sarah Palin. I'm doing Minnesota. Even though Sarah Palin, I don't think, do Alaska people sound like that? Or is that just some hokey? Did she just do it? Okay. I think Sarah Palin's a fraud and a phony. By the way, we'd be much better off if she were president right now. Side note. Anyway, let's go.
I was in the private sector for 14 years, represented companies that were fighting to get into the telecom market. So I had a life before government. And what I saw was when we got more competition there, the prices went down in a big way.
She did the world a favor by being a corporate lawyer for telecom companies. She got the prices to come down. You should be grateful for that. Get out of here, Klobuchar.
Go fuck yourself, Amy.
All right, so what telecom companies did she work for? Well, guess what? I happen to have the power of Google, and I couldn't find it. I didn't have time, honestly. But I did find early career on Wikipedia. After law school, Klobuchar worked as a corporate lawyer. Before seeking public office, besides working as a prosecutor, Klobuchar was a partner at the Minnesota law firms Dorsey and Whitney and Gray Plant Moody, where she specialized in, quote, regulatory work in telecommunications law, end quote. Her first foray into politics came after she gave birth and was forced to leave the hospital 24 hours later. A situation exacerbated by the fact that Klobuchar's daughter, Abigail, was born with okay, so she had her daughter had a condition. She got fucked by the hospital. And then somehow she comes around to being running defense for hospitals and corporations, insurance companies that would do the exact same thing to other people. People die. It kills people. We don't call policy violence. 45. I don't know if I thought it was 45. I've heard I saw another number is 30 something, but it's tens of thousands of people a year die from lack of health insurance. Not to mention all the stress and issues that result downstream from stress that we don't necessarily connect to that. Unbelievable. That's not the point of it. So Dorsey and Whitney, Gray Plant Moody are her things. So these actually have their own little Wikipedia entries. There's not much. I was trying to find what corporations they worked for. I wanted to figure that out. I just haven't quite delved into it that deeply. But let's see. Here's Gray Plant Moody. Banking and financial services, corporate and business, employee benefits and executive compensation, family law, franchise and distribution, gaming law. Ooh, is that Jude's brother? Government relations, health law, intellectual property, technology and privacy, international law, labor, employment and higher education, litigation, nonprofit and tax-exempt organizations, real estate, environmental law and land use, trust, estate, and charitable planning. So, a lot of angels, just a little gang of ladybugs. And yes, I am referring to the movie. They were all angels. So notable recognition from the Gray Plant Moody firm attorneys include... these are a bunch of shit. Who cares? There was one funny one here there was something that jumped out to me. Yeah, for the next other law firm, Dorsey and Whitney, LLP, the firm's lawyers have included several prominent public figures, including former U.S. Vice President Walter Mondale. It's funny. I don't know. Fucking... So yeah, some shit. And there's also some shady stuff in this link here. This about this law firm. They had some business. There's an insider trading controversy in 2008. Anyway, these are big firms, make a lot of money and have a lot of lawyers. And she was a cog in a big corporate machine that defended telecom interests. And she's raising her hand to say as if that's a trait, that's a thing to be proud of. This lady's instincts are terrible. Speaking of that, let's go to the next one. Oh, okay. All right. She struck a nerve. Get ready. Like, for some reason, I was imagining me putting on more deodorant. Like, that's a fight move. Okay, here we go.
Because America, our founding fathers, actually wanted to have less consolidation.
All right, let's back up. First of all, the founding fathers. So he's invoking the founding fathers, which is just a way to mesmerize you into feeling like you're back in grade school where they taught you all that the founding fathers were these noble, brilliant, beautiful men. They were perfect. Remember, they wrote the phrase perfect union. These fucking gaslighting slavers. Pieces of shit. Let's just rewind a tad from this one. I want to get a little more context for this comment here. I don't know what she's talking about, but we'll find out.
Breaking down some of this consolidation and also making sure that the enforcers have the resources to take them on because they're so overwhelmed. But the issue here is this. Start talking about this as a pro-competition issue. This used to be a Republican and Democratic issue because America, our founding fathers, actually wanted to have less consolidation. We were a place of entrepreneurship. We are seeing a startup slump in this country.
Oh, God. Are you shitting me? Place of entrepreneurship. That word is another one of those bamboozle words. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a job creator. Nah, I don't necessarily think the idea of trying out a new business, a new enterprise is bad. I'm not saying that. In fact, the world I would design, a lot more people would have small businesses. We'd get rid of these massive corporations, or at least trim them down substantially, and build a system where people could both get the education and the skills that they need to do a business, and then they also have the social safety net so that they can take the risk of setting one up and going with it and building it out in their own local community. That's how I would work on it. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to do with Bum Rush Industries, my woodworking thing. Well, so far it's just been me putting cool macro photography shots on Instagram while I'm building my workbench. But ultimately, I'd like it to turn into a thing. I'm going to have thousands of employees, and they will slave for me. They will toil in my bum rush mine. Give me your wealth, your energy. Roar! And I'll spend all their wealth on a matte car. If I ever get rich, I want a matte car. I don't know. It's like I feel like I'm not a douchebag. I probably am. I can't tell. Okay, but one of the douchebag moves. Leather bracelet, thick one. Well, thin one's fine. Gotta get laid somehow, right? That's a douchebag move. But I would go. My douchebag thing, I like a matte car. And if anybody doesn't know what I mean by matte, I mean like that where it's not glossy, it's the non-reflective matte surface, like matte paint. I don't know why cars all have to be shiny. I think matte cars look kind of cool, but it's a douche move, and I'll do it. I think I'd like to do that. So I need to start selling a lot of poop stools, that's for sure, if I want to get that matte car of my dreams. You know what I'm saying? These days, all I can afford is a matte scooter. So there's an E at the end of Matt if you want to Google it. Anyway, entrepreneurship, huh? The slavers, consolidation. It's going to come back up when we get to the perfect fact. That's the segment where we talk about some perfection within the society. Last episode I called it perfection, but I've given it a little thought. Perfect fact. Just what kind of entrepreneurship they were involved with. We'll learn a little bit about that, but suggesting that the founding fathers were just like some scrappy upstarts that were just starting to, like, they were the oligarchs of the time, regionally of this area. Did they have some skills or traits that are worth, I guess, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I mean, they resisted British, okay. All right, so let's keep pushing, though. We're still kind of in the financial realm here. This is where Biden yells at Warren. This one made some news. Everybody seemed to pick up on this little ditty here, where Biden piped up at Warren in kind of an aggressive, weird, characteristic Biden bluster bullshit This guy. So he starts yelling at her about the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which Elizabeth Warren pushed for and managed to get. It's one of I think it's the most recent new government agency that was created. It's been completely gutted and hollowed. It was designed to protect consumers. They could actually have a government resource to turn to when credit card companies rip them off. And as we all know, Joe Biden is from Delaware, which is the home of credit card companies because they have very corporate-friendly corporate incorporation laws and rules and stuff. So a lot of credit card companies are based in Delaware, if not all of them. He is one of them. But in this case here, he's taking credit for helping her, and he takes umbrage, puts on his umbrage umbros, and starts in on Warren here.
I served in the Obama administration. I know what we can do by executive authority, and I will use it. In Congress, on the first day, I will pass my anti-corruption bill, which will beat back the influence of money and repeal the filibuster. And the third, we want to get something done in America. We have to get out there and fight for the things that touch people's lives.
All right, that was a little more there that I want to say, but now here's where Biden jumps in.
Let me, she referenced me. I agreed with the great job she did. And I went on the floor and got you votes.
He's got a real aggressive hand point where he turns your hand into like a thumb lined up with your fingers, and it sort of forms a hand. Fingers are all straight. Very aggressive pointing. It's like pointing with all 5 of your digits.
I got votes for that bill. I convinced people to vote for it. So let's get those things straight, too.
So he's just upset that she didn't give him credit for doing the work? Well, have I got something for you, Joe? Pause. I'm going to Google this shit right now. All right, I got a GQ article. Now, this doesn't exactly prove the point I was trying to make, honestly, to be straight up. But all the articles I dug up were about this exchange, because Elizabeth Warren had a nice retort. She handled it well. So the articles were like, oh, she pushed back against this asshole. So let's just play this a bit more, and we will dial in on that. Let's see it. Just I want you to hear Warren's response before I dig into the article I found. Just a GQ article. Here we go.
I served in the Obama administration. I know what we can do by executive authority, and I will use it. In Congress, on the first day, I will pass my anti-corruption bill, which will beat the influence of money and repeal the filibuster. And the third, we want to get something done in America. We have to get out there and fight for the things that touch people's lives.
All right.
Let me, she referenced me. I agreed with the great job she did. And I went on the floor and got you votes. I got votes for that bill. I convinced people to vote for it. So let's get those things straight, too.
Shut up, you asshole. All right, let's back it up, though. Let's reverse it. It's fun. Whoa. The devil is inside him.
I convinced people to vote for it. So let's get those things straight.
Here's her answer.
Senator Warren, do you want to respond?
I am deeply grateful to President Obama, who fought so hard to make sure that agency was passed into law. And I am deeply grateful to every single person who fought for it and who helped pass it into law. But understand.
Nice slam. She got him. Take that, Biden. Uppercut to the chin. Oh, sorry about breaking all your teeth. His teeth are actually the youngest part of bottom. The only thing millennial about that guy's his fucking teeth. So the article here about GQ, the Biden didn't, just a couple paragraphs down, it's by Luke Darby, October 16, 2009. Biden didn't confine his baffling digressions to his own questions on Tuesday in one odd exchange after Elizabeth Warren held forth on the necessity of fighting for big things like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which she conceived of and helped establish. Biden cut in saying loudly,
I agree. She referenced me. I agreed with the great job she did. And I went on the floor and I got you votes. I got you. Oh, my tooth. A tooth fell out. Oh, God, gross. I swallowed it. Oh, man.
The butthole is mostly teeth. Like that movie Teeth, isn't that like kind of the same? Oh, Teeth 2. Joe Biden's butthole. I should animate that. That'd be fun. I agreed with the great job she did. Oh, I got votes for that bill. I convinced people. So he did. There's all this behind the scenes wrangling, and he thinks that's like a thing that he's supposed to be grateful for, is this backslappy cocktail circuit bullshit that happens behind the scenes. Then the rest of the article is kind of about the exchange that you just listened to. But in the final paragraph, there's a little context here. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was Warren's brainchild before she entered the Senate in 2003, and it's probably her most significant achievement, despite the Trump administration's efforts to gut it. I didn't read the comments very well on that one there, guys. Sorry. It was also a big feather in the Obama administration's cap, so it's likely that Biden was supportive at the time. There's not much obvious evidence that he was aggressively wrangling votes for it, as he claims, but a lot of politicking does happen behind the scenes. The CFPB was written into the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, which passed in 2010 in the wake of the financial crisis. The former congressman the bill is named for, Chris Dodd of Connecticut and Barney Frank of Massachusetts, have both said that they have no memory of Biden being a key player in getting the bill passed. All right, there you go. That's all I need to say about that one. We got to wrap this up. So let's jump to the end. From what I could tell, I don't think they did closing speeches. They closed with a question. So they all had to answer this question. What friendship have you had that would surprise us? And what impact has it had on you and your beliefs? So let's see what Klobuchar says to that. Take one guess. One guess.
For me, it's John McCain.
Fuck. Man, John McCain must be blowing up villagers in his grave hearing that. What the fuck? What is this? This is that shit. This is Beto O'Rourke on the cover posing as Ronald Reagan. This is Nancy Pelosi. She often says her favorite person to quote is Ronald Reagan. It's just this democratic thing where these what's the word? These paladins, I don't know why that's the word I think I need to use. These paladins of official decorum, of how it's done, of the center, of, oh, let's not change things too much. They're working for my donors. We don't want to disrupt that. They love to act like they're buddy-buddy with some of the worst actors on the right. McCain was a scumbag. The way he handled himself in captivity, refusing to go home, there's an honorable moment. Deserves credit for it. Lived with his broken shoulders his whole life. He was tortured. I talked about McCain in a previous episode. I think it was actually about a year ago, although not a full year of episodes because I took a break. But so I don't need to rehash all that. But you know, he called his wife a cunt in front of reporters. He voted for so many of the Iraq War, like so many of the GOP's worst things. And the one decent thing he did in his later years was he didn't vote to kill 40,000 more Americans by ending the ACA, the vote that the Republicans pushed in the summer of 2017. That's that dramatic thing where McCain puts his thumb down and Mitch McConnell's standing there like some kind of evil doctor getting a crate of untested opioid pills. I don't know what that means. McCain is not a guy that you should be referencing, but our culture has vilified this guy. Or no, not vilified. That's the opposite of vilified. He deserves to be vilified. The way that, you know, they like to name, you know, I think they renamed some Senate building after McCain. They make this all this. It's all this immediate. His funeral was disgusting. Just the way that not that his family's grieving. I want to be clear, just in case people think that's what I'm getting at. I know that's fine. It hurts to have your family guy die. We get it. We all understand that. But the immediate myth making that happens that the corporate media does, that the Washington media does, same as the corporate media, that the politicians do, they all just put on their finest brooches and act like this was a saint that died, and therefore you can't criticize them. And that's what prevents us from holding these motherfuckers accountable for killing tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of Americans every year using shitty policies, like refusing to do background checks on guns, like the healthcare law that leaves people uninsured and they die, like all the pollution that kills people. Air pollution is extremely deadly in a statistics kind of way. All this stuff, man. McCain is a huge part of all that. Get the hell out of here, McCain. More.
And I miss him every day.
God. No. Miss him every day. All right.
Traveled all over the world with him. And he would sometimes, when we were seated,
he would laugh at my jokes. And, that's what I call pulling a McCain. That's when I was going to say.
with world leaders, and they would look away from me. He'd say, Senator Klobuchar is the lead Democrat on this trip, and she will go next. And I still remember being there at his ranch. John and I went to visit him and Cindy when he was dying, and he pointed to some words in his book because he could hardly talk. And the words said,
"Get out of here, Amy, you C-word. You motherfucking C." I see. I don't want to say the cunt word because that would clippable, outable, and that might be bad. I don't know. Maybe not.
this, there is nothing more liberating in life than fighting for a cause larger than yourself.
The cause of corporate profiteering and war profiteering, which John McCain did his entire career. And that's why I, Amy Klobuchar, will be a war profiteering president if you elect me. But daughter profiteering, that's when I call my daughter on Tuesday.
That's what we're doing right now. And while we...
All right, that's disgusting. Shut up about John McCain. Like, who is she appealing to? This is that nonsense that Chuck Schumer, he famously said that for every Democratic voter we lose, we'll pick up 2 Republicans in the suburbs or something like that. Like, so the Democratic establishment is just looking for the approval of Republicans. I mean, because they're all working for the same people. It's the same team. And they don't see people on the left. They don't see working people. They don't see poor people. They don't see people on the bottom. They don't see underserved communities. They don't see underrepresented communities as people worthy of their time or their effort, of dignity. That's why they don't talk about that. That's why when they want to appeal to you at a major Democratic debate, this is a huge platform, she brings up McCain. She wants people that have ingested that bullshit cultural myth about that guy and think that somehow means that they're going to tie it all back together. Here's Pete Buttigieg. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about, honestly. I didn't have time to get into all this stuff, but I did mark one of his little quotes here because I want to shit on him a little bit.
The purpose of the presidency is not the glorification of the president.
It's the glorification of the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. That's right. Here, let me pull up my shirt. I'm a robot. See my nipples? Now they're turning into coin slots for billionaires. Put a $1,000 token in, Mr. Billionaire, and I will do whatever you want. I'm a neoliberal monster robot who's going to impose austerity on American people. Well, that's what it's all about. We can't be putting up with this Trump feller. He's bad for us. This guy's no business being in this race. Get the hell out of here, Pete. Scary ass guy. What's he doing here? There's a reason the money and the media is kind of cold. They're looking at Biden and saying, crap, this old cat's dropping teeth in his food bowl. We better move on to the next one. Maybe we'll go try Warren. And Warren is, I think that they'll prefer Warren over Bernie ultimately because it is going to shake out to one of those two. If I'm predicting, and I'll be right about that, you'll see. They'll coalesce around Warren, but then it's going to get real weird because they're going to start. It's still going to be fucking nuts. But the next person in line is this guy Pete, who does big corporate fundraisers, big money politician. He's one of these guys. He's pretty smooth. I mean, I think he has that sort of comforting, explainy way. I was joking on Twitter that he's a guy everybody wants to be their son. I'd love to have him as my son. I'd take him out, play frisbee, maybe even one of those cool frisbees that has no middle. The big ring. We'd throw it back and forth. We'd go to a cornfield, build a baseball field in the corn. He could call me Dad. And I'd say, Pete, son, you're a good son. I'm proud of you. You're smart. You're handsome. Monogamous. Those are the only 3 things. Monogamy's bullshit, by the way, FYI. Hey, it works for you. That's fine, too. What's singular? That's what I am. God damn. I am so horny and desperate. All right, moving on. Here's Joke Biden talking. He's going to answer the same question. What friendship have you had that would surprise us? And what impact has it had on you and your beliefs? So we're supposed to learn something about these people. Who is the person that Americans can see inside you, see a piece of your soul? This isn't something we can quantify.
We want to know what motivates you, because we understand what it means to care about our friends and to be inspired by our friends and concerned for and to be there for our friends. And that's how we understand life. Humans are social creatures. It's intuitive for everybody to understand who you are based on who your friends are. You know, you see a guy walking around with Jeffrey Dahmer, you think, run. Here's Biden's answer.
He's been mentioned twice, but John McCain.
Fuck. Jesus Christ. Mentioned twice? I must have missed another one. Who the fuck else said it?
And I worked with John McCain.
It was Marianne Williamson from the crowd. John McCain! Man. His head was the original orb. It's my Marianne Williamson. John McCain. Same thing. Everything I just said, rewind and play it again about this Biden guy here.
John McCain worked for me when he worked in the Navy, and he was assigned to me to travel around the world. We became close friends. Became very close friends with my wife, Jill.
We even double-teamed a Vietnamese prostitute one night.
Visited our home. He was there with his children. And on his deathbed, he asked me to do his eulogy. John, I would...
Okay. So should the Democrats put up as the response to the overwhelming psychological terror, fiscal and financial and economic and ethical and every other icicles terror that is Donald Trump and the other Republican, the two worst presidents in history were the two last Republican presidents, these fucking smooth-brained, brain-damaged morons. And John McCain we're going to put up the guy who John McCain, one of the paladins of Republican GOP, this conservative extremist cult that runs our country, we're all suffering under. And we're supposed to put up Joe fucking Biden, the guy who John McCain picked to speak at his funeral. I want the guy John McCain picked to protest his funeral. Yeah, you heard me. Protest his funeral. I want protesters. Lots of protesters. Get that Hank guy on Twitter. He'll do it. He doesn't seem to understand it's inappropriate to talk about dead John McCain. And then like the penguins in the distance, like rubbing his flippers together, going like, writing notes, holding a notebook. Super villainous is what I'm saying.
Say to John, you didn't see a war you never wanted to fight, and he'd say, you didn't see a problem you never wanted to solve.
What the fuck does that mean? Wait a minute. You didn't see a war you never wanted to fight. He said you didn't see a problem you never wanted to solve. Is that saying that the only way to solve problems is war? This is... All right. I'm going to sigh away from the microphone. More.
But he was a great man of principle. He was honorable.
Honorable. He solved every problem with violence and profiteering over the lives of the global South. That's honor to me, Joe Biden, King of Delaware.
He was honorable. And one of the things, that's the reason why I'm running. We have to restore the soul of this country.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing this. In fact, this president has ripped the soul out of this country.
So he's running that I'm slightly better than Trump. He's better than Trump. I'd vote for him over Trump. You should too. I mean, come on. But no one's going to get enthusiastic about showing up for Biden. There's going to be no movement behind him, and he's not going to fight for policies. He's not going to do what Warren could do. He's not going to do what Bernie at all. Obviously, it goes without saying. But the thing about Bernie is that he's the fuel that ignites the movement that actually gives us a shot at passing these things. And he'll do what, and I hope, I imagine a Bernie presidency will probably have a few disappointments in it. Just like people are disappointed with AOC, and occasionally they think she's getting, like, you see criticisms because she's not perfect for them. Of course not. This stuff doesn't work like that. If you expect perfection and purity, you're always going to be disappointed. So, but Bernie will do, and my evidence for this are his entire career. And maybe my judgment about that is wrong. But the reason he inspires so many young people is because he gives hope, because it's obvious he will start from the right position and stand ground and fight for it and inspire people just like he used his email list to try to help people at the border who are being rounded up by our SS officers, the ICE, that disgusting agency that should be abolished immediately. Bernie was animating his email list in order to try to get people to work on that and not to raise money off of it. It's a sad day, of course, when you have to compliment a politician for choosing to not raise money. I mean, that's just part of the system, unfortunately. But Bernie will have that thing that Obama didn't have, where he starts from a position of strength and fights for it and gets people to get excited about it and engaged and active. Obama gave up the public option right away because his bosses wanted him to. And I think Warren will do a lot of good, too. I do. I don't think she'll be as bad a president. I mean, I follow a lot of lefties and people on the left, and there's a lot of anti-Warren stuff out there, and I there's good reasons to throw barbs at her, too. I know, I get it. That's a longer conversation for another podcast, but my assessment is she's way better than the others, and but I think Bernie's the one. Bernie's the one they're most afraid of. Bernie's the one they're terrified of. Because his power is the movement that is below him. So that's why I'm fighting for it. Yeah. All right. Well.
Divided us in ways that are...
Shut up. I can't handle this fucking guy. All right. So that's that for the debate coverage. You're welcome, America. A couple quick things before we jump here. I was thinking watching the Democratic debater, working on it, editing clips from it, blah, blah, blah. And I've seen a whole bunch of the other ones. The debates, the Republican debates and the Democratic debates could not be more different. The Republican debates are all about voodoo and insanity, just this false machismo bullshit, whatever it is that the spells they cast on their viewers using their. I mean, here's an example. This is I was looking for the video of where they asked Republicans if they believe in evolution. Can you imagine him, Bernie, Mr. Sanders, salamanders crawled out of the ocean 600 million years ago. Don't fact check that. And they raise your hand if you believe that you're descended from one of those salamanders. And
Yes, of course. Evolution is real. Natural selection is a phenomenon at first documented by...
Andrew Yang's no way, man. No way we evolved. We're all just Yang fucks. We all just had 25,000 years of Yang fucks. What if he just had some crazy, culty thing that he believed? Space aliens aren't real. They're actually the poop hairs on my back hole butt. That's right. Cool. Everybody's going to get 1,000 butt hairs. It's immature. So anyway, I couldn't find the video. I thought that was. I'll look again. I don't know. Maybe I don't. I'm not gonna look again. To be honest, unless I think of it next time I'm doing this. But 3 of them raise their hand. They don't believe in evolution. It's insane. Do you believe in gravity? What? Rand Paul's floating. No, of course I don't believe in gravity. So here's. I did find a clip of Mike Huckabee, the father of former White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, married to Bernie Sanders. That's right. That Sanders comes because she is his second wife. No, so here's Mike Huckabee. The first person speaking will be one of the moderators. I don't know. This is from 2007. So this June 5th. This is when this video was posted. I don't know when the debate happened, but they referenced the evolution hand raising. That's why I brought that up.
Governor Huckabee, at a previous debate, you and 2 of your colleagues indicated that you do not believe in evolution. You're an ordained minister. What do you believe? Is it the story of creation as it is reported in the Bible or described in the Bible?
That's a question. That's a question at a CNN debate.
It's interesting that question would even be asked of somebody running for president. I'm not planning on writing the curriculum for an 8th grade science book. I'm asking for the opportunity to be president of the United States. But you've raised the question, so let me answer it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. To me, it's pretty simple. A person either believes that God created this process or believes that it was an accident.
Accident is more comforting, by the way. If you think God created this, all right, it's sophomoric, lazy, evolutionary babbling, but, come on. So this is insane. Like, I wouldn't want a guy like this running a gas station, let alone a country.
And that it just happened all on its own. And the basic question was an unfair question because it simply asked us in this simplistic manner whether or not we believed, in my view, whether there's a God or not.
Oh, so he's saying if you believe in evolution, therefore you don't believe in God, because that would deny that the God created the process. That's what he's trying to say. That's nice. It's important. It's a good thing.
Well, let me be very clear. I believe there is a God. I believe there's a God who is active in the creation process. Now, how did he do it, and when did he do it, and how long did he take? I don't honestly know.
It was 6 days, idiot. And he took a day off on Sunday. What if God was like pissed about working so much? He's like,
4-day work week. Why? I'm so burnt out. I need to get my car. I need to get my Prius tires rotated. Fucking can't do it. Working 5 days a week all the fucking time. Roar.
Do they have genitals in heaven? Is that a thing?
And I don't think knowing that would make me a better or a worse president. But I'll tell you what I can tell the country. If they want a president who doesn't believe in God, there's probably plenty of choices. But if I'm selected as president of this country, they'll have one who believes in those words that God did create. And as the words of Martin Luther, here I stand,
what?
I can do no other.
Oh, I thought he was going to go Martin Luther King. I think he meant Martin Luther, the founder of Lutheranism, right? Not like Martin Luther's brother, Kathy, the founder of Catholicism.
And I will not take that back.
Governor, but...
Okay, he bravely stood up for the belief in God. Gosh, what a bull. Like, this is a Republican debate. The evolution debate was a big news thing. I imagine it's probably being done still low-key because conservatives have one of the reasons that they run this country is they've taken over local and small like school councils and stuff like that. So I'm guessing it's still going on where they're controlling textbooks, and Texas being a large state has a lot of influence over the textbook market. And I mean, trying to manipulate people's viewpoints. And how do you write history? How do you get accurate history? I think you get lots of viewpoints, and you should also have a system for accreditization of those who do write history. So I'm not saying that you should believe everything you read, and I don't, I tend to look at it through power dynamics. So the stuff that speaks to, workers and people at the bottom, the receivers of power, not the givers. No, that's, you know what I mean? Those who have no power, their stories don't get told as much as those who do, in my opinion. So that's kind of where my focus is. But they've tried to manipulate history, and they want to prevent children from learning about evolution. Such a basic premise is a simple, and it's fucking crazy. It used to be a big thing. There was a big Kansas thing with school boards, and there's big debates about evolution versus Bill Nye debated one of those Kirk Cameron-esque people, those guys that think that because the banana is curved, it fits the human hand, and therefore that means God did that. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But I think that specific question...
All right, I don't know why I made that so much. Let's just finish it. There's like less than a minute.
The specific question is...
It's Wolf Blitzer, by the way. Look at him. Look at him, young and trim. Oh, just looking like a snack. Wolfie, want a bite? Want to bite Wolfie?
I believe literally it was done in 6 days, and it occurred 6,000 years ago.
No, I did answer that, Wolf. I said I don't know.
Why would he say he doesn't know? That's like one of their things. Maybe it was 9 days. Why? Like, if he's gonna make this whole... All right, we're doing 2 hours on this, okay? Just buckle down, everybody.
My point is, I don't know. I wasn't there.
I wasn't there. Oh, Trump was. Trump is the Lord.
But I believe whether God did it in 6 days or whether he did it in 6 days.
Oh, that's Giuliani laughing. Wow, this shit's crazy. It's a really bad video. It's like 10p. It's 240. It's like 240p.
That represented periods of time. He did it, and that's what's important. But if
or my pronouns are they and they, fucker.
Anybody wants to believe that they are the descendants of a primate, they are
a primate. What the? pronounces it primate.
That are descendants of a primate.
The descendants of a primate. Descendants of a primate. Of a primate.
Other than the famous band Primus.
Certainly welcome to do it. I don't know how far they will march that back, but I believe that all of us in this room are the unique creations of a God who knows us and loves us and who created us for his own purpose.
Senator.
That's fucking creepy. God created the Huckabees. There you go. Proof God has horrible design skills. To be fair, God also created The Rock, otherwise known as the Dwayne Johnson Rock. See, I flipped it. See how that works? It's called 10-year comedy career. That's the best I got for you. Okay, pushing it here. Thanks for listening. Please stick with me here. Let's do the perfect fact. Today's perfect fact comes to you from our sponsor, Wikipedia. Wikipedia, enter promo code PEDIA. So, as I learn more about this stuff, I was educated in America, therefore I'm ignorant about America. So I want to share stuff with the listeners and you and viewers as I learn myself. And so that's the kind of the point of the perfect fact. So here we go. Thomas Jefferson owned over 600 African-American slaves throughout his adult life. Jefferson freed 2 slaves while he lived and 7 more slaves after his death. Jefferson's views on slavery are complex. Oh, yeah? Did it range from he loved it to he liked it a lot? Jefferson consistently spoke out against the international slave trade, outlawed while he was president, while he advocated gradual emancipation and colonization of domestic slaves. Sure. Yeah, I'm sure he did. The 600 people, huh? Common for his times, Jefferson believed blacks... See, I like how they're all... like, even in Wikipedia, they're like, oh, everybody did it. Everybody was rapists, slavers and torturers, human traffickers. Everybody. Common for his times, Jefferson believed blacks were inherently inferior to whites and thought it was best the 2 races remain segregated. Great. One more paragraph, why not? In 1767, at age 24, Jefferson inherited 5,000 acres of land and the legal ownership of 52 people by his father's will. See? Self-made guy. His dad croaks and gives him 5,000 acres and human livestock. In 1768, Jefferson began construction of his Monticello plantation. Through his marriage to Martha Wales in 1772, Martha Wales would be a great name for a porn star, wouldn't it? Ooh, she's really wailing. An inheritance from his father. What if she was quiet? That'd be like a fun prank. And inheritance from his father-in-law, John Wales. Bad name for a porn star. Don't like when men groan. No fun. In 1773, Jefferson inherited 2 plantations and the legal ownership of 135 men, women, and children who were to be kept as slaves. Victims. Enslaved human beings. Thomas Jefferson's victims. By 1776, Jefferson was one of the largest planters in Virginia. However, the value of his property, parentheses, land and slaves, was increasingly offset by his growing debts, which made it very difficult to free the people he kept forced in slavery and thereby lose them as assets. So they were assets to him. And this is the guy that we venerate. We treat with so much respect. But this was perfect, right? This was a perfect country. Remember, the whole point was to be more perfect as the original gaslighting was written in the preamble to the Constitution. So actually, this kind of connects back to the last week's or last Perfect Unions, the first number 1, about where I talked about George Washington, who ran tavern lotteries, which were these bar parties where they would raffle off their victims, slaves, to each other, but they were taking assets from someone who had debts. And this kind of references how Jefferson had debt. Apparently he wasn't very good at business. Spent that all on his neckerchiefs and big fancy button coats. These guys are all scumbags. I'm sure the full picture, if I ever get to interview Doris Kearns Goodwin, we'll learn some good things about them all. But how about we learn about the shit? Let's face it and be honest about it. This country was founded as a white supremacist, apartheid, torture, exploitation state that just was just, oh my God, that leaves a leg. I mean, it's not disconnected from now. Is my point. That's why it's relevant. So I'll ramble about that another time. But I just wanted to say thank you for listening. So much appreciate your attention. Hope you had fun listening. There was a couple of bits that were okay, I thought. The debate thing was kind of fun. And, yeah. Now I'm going to edit it, get this thing uploaded and posted. And we're all going to have a nice time. Thanks for sharing. Feel free to leave a like or a subscribe or just a comment or a tweet or something. Follow me on the social media shit. And stay tuned for more. I'm working my butt off on this when energy allows. Wish I had more time. That's the dream, is to have time enough to actually do what I want to do, and that would mean a lot more of this. So I really appreciate your attention, and I just want to tell you you're doing great. Keep it up. I know it's hard. I know it gets tough. No one ever says you're doing a good job. You are. Just want you to know that, and you deserve to feel better. So fight for it. I'll just leave you with this. Some final words of wisdom from one of the great Americans, one of the flame keepers of the Jeffersonian tradition.
John McCain.
Fuck!